In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 6 finance books that you should be reading in 2023. Number one of my favorite finance books is The Richest Man in Babylon. I read this book when I was quite young. It taught me some principles. They share almost like 7 principles of making wealth. It's a very good book if you haven't read about it. The primary takeaways from this book are you should save at least 10% of everything you earn and do not confuse your necessary expenses with your desires. Work hard to improve your skills and ensure a future income because wealth is the result of reliable income stream. You cannot arrive at the fullest measure of success until you crush the spirit of procrastination within you. So in the book, they use sort of parables, different little stories to narrate how people can make wealth. In the beginning, you have this idea where he's saying you should save at least 10% of your income, and then you take that 10% and start investing it in businesses that you're a little bit knowledgeable about. Where you lack knowledge, you should seek to find people who are more qualified than you in those industries, but have the good intentions for you. Because if you just go into industry where you don't really know and you're trying to work with different people, they will screw you out of your money. You got to develop your skills. So in one of the videos we did, we said, you don't follow your passion, but develop your skills. And in this book, they also highlighted on that. Like, you have to develop your skills so that you can earn more income. The better you become, the more you invest in yourself, the more money you will make, which will help you with your streams of income. Because what you want to look at is you want different streams of income. They say the 7 hours of wealth. So you want different ways of making money. From this, then you'll be able to cover your costs, you'll be able to cover your expenses, and then you're able to save up the rest of it and just develop and grow wealth. So do check out The Richest Man in Babylon, link in the bio. The second book that I read is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This book offers a unique perspective on personal finance and investing, emphasizing the importance of financial literacy and the power of creative passive income streams. So in his, I believe it's a series of books. What Robert Kiyosaki does is he creates these 2 families, right? So you have one poor family and one rich family, and then you're just trying to learn from the rich family. And what the rich family teaches you is, if you're constantly working for money, you will never be wealthy. You can get money, you can be rich, but you'll never be wealthy because you're constantly trading time for money. So it's very difficult to make money in those situations because there's a cap to how much you can make. If you make $20 an hour, no matter how hard you work, it just means that at the end of the month, you're getting 160 times 20, right? Which is like $3,200 that you make at the end of the month, less taxes. You are looking at like $2,500 depending on where you are at. This is just based on what happens in Canada where I'm at. So there's a limit to how much money you can make working as an employee or even as a self-employed person. What you want to start looking at is building businesses and systems that help you make money and understand the need of having passive income. If you can make money whilst you're sleeping, that's the best thing. So if you haven't read this book, which I feel is recommended a lot by a lot of people, you should check it out. The third book that I would like you guys to check out is The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. This book provides a step-by-step plan for getting out of debt and achieving financial freedom with a focus on budgeting, saving, and investing. Now, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of Dave Ramsey's philosophies when it comes to money, but the one thing the guy gets perfectly is how to get out of debt. In his book, which I read about 2 years ago, it literally helped me pay off some of my credit cards. What the book teaches you is just the mindset that you need to be in. There's a certain space that you need to go to in order to start saving and in order to get out of debt. And the way he teaches you budgeting and things like that, which are critical for financial literacy as well. This is a valid book. You also have as a mobile app out there that can help you with your budgeting, that helps you track your cash flows and stuff like that. I definitely do recommend watching his channel if you're struggling with financial debt. The fourth book, this is more for people who want to start investing. This book is called The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. It's a classic book on value investing. The Intelligent Investor provides comprehensive introduction to the principles of sound investment and how to analyze stocks, bonds, and other securities. The book aims to help people invest in the stock market while minimizing the economic risks. It focuses on longer term and more risk-averse approaches. Graham focuses on investments based on research rather than speculations based on predictions. The key takeaways that I got from the book that I'll share with you guys is price and value are 2 entirely different concepts. So the price that you pay for a stock market. I tried explaining the stock market in one of my videos, which you guys should check out. Essentially how it works is, so when you look at price basically is the amount of money people are willing to pay for a company at that particular point in time. Value is how much you value a business based on your own models, right? So price and value are two entirely different concepts. So you want to understand how valuable business is. If you perceive that a business is valued at, let's say, 1 billion, but it's selling at 500 million, then you know that that's a great opportunity for you to get in. But if you do your math and the business is selling at, let's say, 1 billion, and your valuation of it was 250, then you know that business is overvalued. So that helps you with your decision making of what to do there. The second thing is risk is not the short-term volatility or return. So when people are looking at businesses, a lot of times we look at it from the cyclical nature of the stock exchange, right? And what happens is a lot of time you're looking at the stock price and you're like, oh my goodness, this thing is risky. I don't want to get into a thing. You know how, for example, shares of Tesla or the GameStop shares were operating in 2020, whereby they're up, they're down, they're up, they're down, and you want to make a judgment. You don't want to judge Tesla on how it's performing in the short term. What you want to do is in the long run, see how far the business has come, where the business is and where they are going and how they are handling their money, what's their debt ratios and stuff like that. And then you understand what the risk is. So in the short term, that's not your big risk. In the long term, that's where risk is. And you want to see how management is operating the business. The third takeaway is to be successful, you must be psychologically prepared. So the stock exchange or investing in general, it's a mental game. It's not necessarily a physical game. It's a mental game whereby one time the markets are up, the next time the markets are down. And you need to know the right times to, not necessarily the right times to enter, but the right times to exit. You need to know when you've had enough. Some people stay in long for forever. Some people don't, it's your choice. But psychologically, you need to be on game because a lot of people will try to influence you differently, and it's a dog eat dog on that thing. The fourth thing is you can't predict the future. A lot of people tried, I remember in 2020, everyone was like, Bitcoin is going to be the future. You should be entering Bitcoin. How many people have lost money? How many people have gained money? It's something that happens. You cannot predict the future. So don't try. Don't even bother. The fifth lesson is investing with a margin of safety increases probabilities of success. So what you want to do with this is something that Warren Buffett calls a moat, I believe. This is basically investing in a business, understanding that what's your margin of safety? Like at what point are you saying this is the time for me to get out? So if you're investing $1, if that thing comes down to 80 cents, is that your margin of safety or will you push it? These are some of the things that you will learn in the book.
We have a company called See's Candy out on the West Coast. See's Candy is boxed chocolates. If you give a box of See's chocolates to your girlfriend on the first date and she kisses you, we own you. We can raise the price tomorrow and you'll buy the same box. You're not going to fool around with success. So the key there is the response. You do not want to go home on Valentine's Day and say to your wife or your sweetheart, preferably they're the same person, you don't say, here, honey, I took the low bid. It doesn't work. Price is, to a degree, is immaterial. If you've got an economic castle, people are going to come and want to take that castle away from you. And you better have a strong moat. You better have a knight in the castle that knows what he's doing.
You're not buying an asset. You're buying a name. You're buying a brand. You're buying a real franchise here. And Charlie was more responsible for that than anybody.
The fifth book that I recommend is a book called Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. To become a chess grandmaster, you have to develop the ability to look 5 moves ahead. In similar vein, to excel in business, to become a strategist you have to think at least 5 moves ahead. The 5 moves that Patrick Bet-David highlights in this book are master knowing yourself, master the ability to reason, master building the right team, master strategy to scale, master making power plays. Master knowing yourself. Knowing yourself is rarely talked about in business circles, but it's impossible to think ahead without self-awareness. Once you definitely decide who you want to be, which direction to take will become much more clear, as well as why it matters. So the main thing when it comes to trying to build wealth, you need to know who you are and understand what you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to make $1 million? Are you trying to make 100,000? Do you just want to be comfortable? This determines how then you approach the level of risk you're willing to take, because you know yourself and you don't allow outside voices to influence you. Move number 2 is master the ability to reason. How to process issues and having a methodology for making decisions are important. No decision is ever black and white. And if you can learn to see it all shades of gray, to see all the shades of gray, that will help you move forward decisively, even in the face of uncertainty. So a lot of times, you don't want to just make a decision just to be like, it's yes or no. It's like, no, there's a maybe. And we have to look at all the possibilities before we make a rash decision. The third lesson is master building the right team. To build the right team around you is vital, that you get to understand others. If you help people find the best in themselves, you can build a team that will help you grow. Ask questions, challenge your people to understand themselves, and build trust in your team. So one of the key things when trying to build wealth, it's all about the people you surround yourself with, right? It's the banks that you work with, it's your partners, it's everybody that's around you that's pushing. I want Steve Harvey loves giving the example of rowing a boat, right? You don't just want passengers. You want people to be rowing the boat with you. You want people to be doing something to make it work for you. And then the fifth is master making power plays. Everyone wants to be the Goliath in your industry. And if you do that, it'll be great for your reputation and future operations. Learn how to control your narrative and leverage social media productively to frame your story. Always keep thinking 5 moves ahead. The fifth and final book, or the sixth book, is The Psychology of Money. The sixth book is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. The premise of this book is that doing well with money has little to do with how smart you are and a lot to do with how you behave. And behavior is hard to teach, even to the really smart people. One of the key things that I learned from this book is people are only willing to make your investment decisions based off of your personal history. So if you grew up, in a country like I grew up, where it's very difficult to trust the banking system, it's very difficult to trust banks, and it's very difficult to trust the government. A way that I look at money is I'm constantly making decisions on now and having assets that generate income for me. Like, I'm not comfortable having money in the bank account because coming from Zimbabwe, we woke up one time and there was no more money in the banks. And for some people who grew up in Canada, the way they look at opportunities and risk is quite different from the way I do. People out here believe that, tomorrow comes, whereas I come from no, tomorrow might not come, So that's the main key things in this book. It goes on to touch on how you think about money, like putting yourself in a position of having positive thoughts, but also having an understanding that money, how it's controlled. The book explores how our emotions and behavior can affect our financial decision making and offers insights into how to overcome common financial mistakes and develop a healthier relationship with money. So these are some of the books that if you read this year, I don't know if they'll make you wealthy, but they'll guarantee help you change your mindset towards money if you have a negative mindset towards it. Working in the film industry, working in the creative industry, we are often told to shy away from financial conversations, but we work in an industry that burns a lot of money, and we do this every day. Everything that we're trying to do requires money. Just having actors to act in your film requires money, right? So we need to educate ourselves and become more financial literate and be prepared for everything that happens moving next. With that said, if you found value in this video, smash that subscribe button, leave us a like, leave a comment, and I'll definitely be seeing you in the next one.
Did he take? Well, I'm going to go be the greatest basketball player of all time. Michael did this. He went and owned the team. Kobe's doing this. Magic did this. Maybe I'm going to take a little bit from this. He took a little bit from Trump on how Trump becomes a president because media, a little bit from Bloomberg because Bloomberg owned a media company to take his route. So could there be that LeBron's next 5 moves may be at 18 years old, he's coming out saying, I'm going to go out there and be one of the greatest basketball players of all time, if not the greatest. Okay, he's going to score the most points. He's going to be the first basketball player ever to play on the same team with his son. What if that happens with him and Bronny? History, 40,000 points. Maybe win a chip or 2 with the Lakers. Maybe get your 5. So number one move that he had was be the greatest basketball player of all time, which that gives you a bigger platform. You can't become LeBron James if you're not the greatest at what you're doing. He did that. Number 2, what's his next move? After basketball, well, maybe we start a media company while I'm going about basketball. Check, he just did that. Number 3, after I leave the NBA, maybe I buy a basketball team, similar to what Mike did. Check, he's going to do that. Then I'm going to be a billionaire, but not just to be a billionaire because I want to go play sports, but because I'm going to be a billionaire to have that money and be able to use it to do something bigger, which could lead to what? Could LeBron James end up wanting to run for office one day? I don't know. I'm speculating. But if LeBron James had his 5 moves in place, those may be some of the things that he's doing. So now your next 5 moves, that's LeBron James, right? We can look at a lot of different people's 5 moves and kind of go through their career, whether it's President Barack Obama or Trump or Musk or Bezos or Zuck or a lot of these guys. But what are your next 5 moves? So for me, a lot of people ask me and say, Pat, I know you wrote this book called Your Next 5 Moves. I can't wait to get a copy of it. But what should my next 5 moves be? What should I be doing? You may be somebody that's not fully clear on what you want to be doing. What should your next 5 moves be right off the bat? I can give you a simple playbook right off the bat. Move number 1, study industries and choose one. Listen, LeBron chose one industry, which is what? Basketball. Trump chose one industry, which is what? Real estate, okay? Zuck chose one industry. All of these, Rock chose one industry is going in. And then from that industry in wrestling, he expanded into movies. Then movies is expanding. So he started off football, Miami Hurricanes. Then wrestling, boom, wider. Then boom, movies, wider. But you choose one industry at first to become the best at. Then you have a lot of opportunities. LeBron's basketball, Trump's real estate. What's yours? Choose one industry. Second thing you do once you choose the industry is who is the best person in that industry for you to go work with closely so you can learn every single thing this person is doing in that industry. So you go work for them if you can, or you go study the best ones if you can. So those are the second move that you have. What's your third one? When you work with this person that's the best in the industry, guess what you do? Become so valuable for them. Become so valuable to them. Do whatever you can to help them out. Whatever you can. Bring so many different opportunities for this person and help them advance. Because what's your move number 4? Move number 4 is one or two things going to happen with you. When that person leaves, you can replace them. Or when you're moving up, you can ask that person and say, listen, I know you got a lot of things going on right now. Help me. Let me run this company for you. Let me run this business for you. You're running 5 companies. Let me run one of them. Let me get equity here. But that person's going to look at, and you're going to be the most trusted advisor and an insider, royal person like you. A lot of opportunities are going to come your way. And if it doesn't come your way, guess what you do at that time? Go start your own deal. That's the simple playbook of 5 next moves. Choose an industry, go partner with the best person in the marketplace, become so valuable to them, ask to run one of their companies or own equity, and if they say no, you go start your own company. That's a simple next 5 moves. By the way, there's 5 moves for college graduate. There's 5 moves before you get married. There's 5 moves for parenting. There's 5 moves for developing leaders. Everything is about your next 5 moves. So today, I shared with you potentially LeBron's next 5 moves. Again, I'm speculating. Then I shared with you what I would be doing if I'm you at some point saying, I want to go do something big with my life. That's your next 5 moves. But all of that is why I wrote this book, Your Next 5 Moves.